We thank you all for coming and gathering with us for this very, very, very special occasion. I'm not even sure what to say because I'm so overwhelmed because God has really, really opened doors for individuals like Tarek and myself. I'm grateful. I just said to my pastor the other week, I said, I feel weird because I don't feel all hype and all hyped up. And he said, that's because I'm being humble. So I'm appreciative of that. I don't take this for granted, and I'm sure Tarek don't take it for granted, but we are blessed that we have individuals in this city that support us and that helped us to get on the right track with this occasion. I do have to say that if it wasn't for Fulton Bank, who is our investors, and I'm sure there's a couple of representatives here from Fulton Bank, we would not be able to do this. And then there's PHFA, of course, and I'm only going to name a few because I know that without PHFA, Laura from Mulligan and Lonigan, I might be pronouncing it wrong, our attorney, that was our dream team. So we're really, really grateful that people took it upon themselves to invest in us, to see that we were fit to do something like this. So with that being said, I see Tarek now. I'm going to ask him to please come to the podium and do his thing.
Good morning. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and supporting this project. And this is a big event for me and big event for the community. This project couldn't have happened without, honestly, 4 years ago, we started the Diversity Coalition. And with the Diversity Coalition, it was a bunch of minority contractors and businesses that came together and formed a little coalition. And we, had one common goal, to seek how we can work together and accomplish something big. This project is big. I know it's big for the veterans, but it's big for the minorities in this community and just minorities all over. Like to stand behind the scenes a lot of the times, and I don't like to be doing a lot of this type of stuff. But I always hid behind my aunt, hid behind Carl. But I tell them what I want done. But they got it done, and it is ironic that a guy like me been in trouble a few times. Is just 10 years ago I was incarcerated. Got out of jail 10 years ago. Been in penitentiary 3 times. Decided to change my life the last time. Came home, got married. And from that point, it changed everything for me. And I decided, I always wanted to give back, like I tell people. But anybody know me, they can get anything from me until you cross me. And then, it just get different. But, one thing, giving back to the community that I was raised in, Harrisburg. I love Harrisburg. And I always seen, from the vision I always seen when I was younger, this community was nice way back. And then it just, went haywire and things just went, got dilapidated, abandoned houses everywhere. And I knew from, going to school and learning these trades and stuff that, what I would do if I had the opportunity. And I was given this opportunity by working, through the coalition and groups and talking to people all the time. And, once I started my own business in 2009, after being incarcerated, I worked with a lot of companies, and Wilson Construction and Pyramid Construction. A lot of these companies around here, it was rough in the beginning, but once they gave me the opportunity, I, took advantage of it and did everything that I was supposed to do. But sometimes even when you're doing what you're supposed to, it still don't work out right. But I persevered, did what I was supposed to, started my thing. And I started bringing in guys in the community that were ex-offenders like me. So I wanted to show that we can still do this job, and we can do anything that anyone else can do. And like I said, it's just the main thing was having the opportunity. And a lot of people say, well, why would you do that, or why would you do something for veterans? why shouldn't I do something for veterans? Because they, was the ones that sacrificed in this country, and there's a lot of veterans in this community downtown. People don't realize it's a lot of those guys homeless as veterans, and I know if they ask me for something, if I got it, you can have it. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I think we all should do that. It shouldn't be, a project like this for everybody to come together for some veterans. They should always look out for the veterans because they looked out for us. So this is the first veteran housing in Harrisburg that I know of, especially being built by a minority and minority ex-offenders. And, like I said, it couldn't have been possible without this diversity coalition. Like I said, the objective of the diversity coalition is to add meaningful inclusion. And meaningful inclusion means that we would like to see black and brown businesses on the ground on these projects. There's a lot of projects in Harrisburg taking off, and it's not a lot of us out here working. And we should be out here because this majority of the city is minority. There's no way we shouldn't be allowed, or they say we're not qualified. There's no way. This right here shows you that we're qualified to do it. So, I thank everybody for coming out. I definitely like to thank PHFA for giving me the chance, awarding us this tax credit. I'd like to thank Muller and Lonergan for consulting us and, working through this whole project with us. Also, the Federal Home Loan Bank for giving us a loan and helping to support this project. Fulton Bank especially too. I'm sorry that I'm not mentioning you first because you're the one who bought the tax credit. Also, I'd like to thank all the support of the state representatives and politicians, the mayor sitting up front. I appreciate you. Everything you've done, everything you do for us. You've definitely supported a lot of projects, and anything that I'll, bring to that I like to do, and I'll just like to let you know that I appreciate you. City Council, I'd like to thank Patty Kim. I'd like to thank, it was the state rep, the one that he forgot his name. Or forgive me, Scott Perry. Especially because he was a guy I never even met, but when we went and told him we wanted to do something for veterans, he definitely gave us his support, gave us a support letter, and he encouraged us, to do this. And sorry, I was tired last night. We've been in here working every day, but I apologize for missing anybody, but. Harrisburg Housing Authority. I'd like to thank, I'd actually like to thank TLC. Well, let me let my guys know I appreciate everything y'all did because we worked hard every day on both projects because we was in here working 12 hours, 14 hours. They was working all day to prepare for this. But this project, like I said, this building is the hub housing for veterans. This building is the hub center for diverse businesses, mainly minority and black business, black and brown businesses. But it's a lot of minority businesses, all minority businesses. But it's a carpentry shop in there for training for ex-offenders, veterans, and hard-to-place individuals. But I know this project was mainly for veterans. This housing is for veterans. But I just wanted to let you know that I'm inclusive of everything. Like I said, the main thing was veterans, but I'm trying to help everybody. Like I said, at the end of the day, the community, I definitely love the support and everyone showing up. And also, I like to also thank my mom. I love you. My wife, I love you too. I know I didn't see you a lot. I didn't get a chance to spend no time with you in the past year. I would come briefly in and out because I was tired, but I was in here at least 6 days, 7 days a week. And I'm ready to go to vacation right after this, trust me. But I like to let you know I love you to death, Mom, and I love you to death, Lisa. just my wife. And like I said, she helped change my life because I was definitely not the best guy around. You know, but like I said, at the end of the day, I always had a good heart. And one thing I like to say is, I mean, I'm stuck right now, but you know, I like to tell my kids, I love you, and I'm glad y'all get to see me do something good. I mean, it took a lot for me to change my life, but I'm definitely happy that y'all finally seeing your real dad.
Yes.
And seeing what I'm capable of doing.
Yep. Good. You good. You good.
I'm gonna cut it at that, but I definitely want y'all to visit both sites and see what wonderful job that can happen anytime that you really give an opportunity to some minorities that work together. Not only that, our participation numbers were very good on this project. Local participation, we had 33% for local, and we had 25% minorities on this project. It could get better, but like I said, that's a stepping stone, but it was definitely good. And next door, I general contract that project right there, and the participation level was 82%. And that's definitely achievable. So I know a lot of times they say it's not achievable, but this is the first time that a minority was a developer, was a GC, was a sub, and we had a training program right next door.
Yes. Yes.
But it's not just a regular training program, it's an apprenticeship program certified through labor and industry. So it's not no pre-apprentice, it's the real deal. So we have a certified instructor, Mr. Mike Hunter, who actually he taught me in high school. But I would definitely like to thank him for, you know, coming back, reaching back after he retired, come back and give back to the community. Not only him, it's a lot of people that gave back to this community, gave to this project. And like I said, if I forget anybody, forgive me. But like I said, this is major for me. I'm real nervous, but you know, thank everybody. That's all I can say. And I'll definitely want to give a shout out to my boys that come from Alabama. He's a football coach at Tuskegee. I went to college with him at Cheney University back in the 90s. And my other buddy from Detroit, they all flew in, come see me. And like I said, the last time they see me or they heard from me, it was in the pen, right in the pen, and I was locked up. But, you know, they knew I had a good heart and they knew what I can do. So now I'm glad that they came to see, you know, their buddy that they remember back in the 90s when things were going well. And, you know, like I said, this is just big. I don't know what else to say, but I just want to cut the ribbon now.
Okay, well, you can't cut the ribbon yet.
Hold on, I'm sorry. But we're not cutting it right now. But the next person I want to bring up, and like I said, what I have the most respect for is Mr. Brian Hudson.
Good morning, everyone. Tark, I know he doesn't like being out front, but he's getting pretty good at this, isn't he? So we're going to have more of these. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here representing PHFA. for this development. I get to do this all over the Commonwealth for about 30, 40 projects every year between dedications and groundbreakings. But this one hits home, and I literally mean that because I grew up 2 blocks from here, 1716 North 5th Street. My sister still lives there, and it's very difficult, the tax credit program. So I want to thank certainly the members of Congress and the Senate for approving and giving us additional credits. It's a very competitive process. As many of the developers will tell you, we're funding 1 out of every 3 projects that come in. It's very unusual for a project to get funded on the first try, and that's what happened here. So I was very pleased to see that happen. About 2 years ago, we put in our QAP points, and all the developers chase these points to get their projects awarded the credits to get funded. The points were for MBEW participation, but what I was on a mission is to approve minority developers, not just from a subcontract perspective, but to have them own and be the sponsor of the project. So 2 years ago, first time ever in PHFA's history, we awarded 3 minority developer tax credit awards to not only TLC, but in Pittsburgh and also in Erie, PA. So I want to say congratulations to TLC, Ms. Juanita, and Tark for hanging in there. It's a difficult process, but this is the result of what happened. So congratulations to you. This development hit on all the points and the bells and whistles, if you will, to get funded. The population being served, veterans, which is number 1 on our list. Location, you see the vacant lots that we're trying to develop around the city. Mayor, I know we're working with you on a lot of initiatives. And the number of units, which fits perfectly right into this section. Now, I'm already looking for the next project because we still have a lot more to do. So Tark, get used to making these speeches and partnering. And the theme here you heard this morning, and you'll hear throughout the rest of the speeches, is partnership, and that's what it takes. Not only from the state, the federal, the local level. Tark mentioned the Diversity Coalition, which was a kickoff. You know, we want to make sure that the jobs are there. And for me, you know, what I'd like to leave behind is that as a developer and a sponsor, we can do these projects and then employ those from the community to do the work. That's the same thing that's happening in Pittsburgh. It doesn't have to be a big city trend, not only in Philadelphia, it can happen right here in Harrisburg. So I like to keep it going. This is a pleasure because it's in my block, if you will. We've got a lot more to do. This is just the beginning. This partnership has to and will continue. And I want to thank the sponsors. From PHFA's standpoint, we provided a little over $400,000 of tax credits. I want to thank Fulton Bank again for purchasing those credits, which brings about $4 million in equity to the table to do developments just like this. Many of you know we've done a number of projects in the city. We've also financed Hamilton Health Center, but we have a lot of work, and this is home, so we're going to start right here, and we're going to create these models so that not only we can do this across Pennsylvania, but I'm showing my colleagues in other states that how we work together in Harrisburg, in Pennsylvania, that they can duplicate this. So before long, you may be in 3 or 4 states before we're done with this process. So I want to thank all of the partners that have worked with PHFA in the past. And if you're not one of our partners, let's talk, because if you have an idea that you want to bring to fruition, please let us know. That's our job, is to provide affordable housing. And last but not least, I want to say congratulations to the tenants who will live here. Welcome to your new home. That's PHFA's model, so congratulations. Thank
you. Next up, I'd like the representative of Fulton Bank to come forward. Is Fulton Bank here?
So, on behalf of Fulton Bank, we are honored to be part of this project. And it was a pleasure to work with Tariq and Juanita. Their passion and their desire to overcome any obstacle to fulfill this dream was really just, it made us step back. They were not willing to hear the word no. And they were always looking for a path forward. And it really, for us, this project is what we really enjoy being involved in. And I'd like to thank Brian Hudson from PHFA to really, he is the one who introduced Tariq and Juanita to us. He's the one that, on their behalf, talked about the project, how he was going to impact this community, and the individuals, the minorities, the veterans that it was going to help. And PHFA has really a big challenge in front of itself, because it does have a very limited amount of credits on an annual basis to allocate to projects like this. And these credits help create equity, funding for a project that can't be successful with a huge debt load. So it can't go out and get loans. So we are proud to come in as the investor and buy those credits and provide the equity that the project needs to be successful. But the challenge PHFA has, and really every state agency who's in charge of allocating affordable, low-income housing tax credits, there's just not enough. The need is so great, and what they're able to do is really just, it's beneficial, but it's a program that just needs more assistance and to be expanded. So, to PHFA, their challenge is just really tremendous. But they do a great job, and we've been proud, Fulton Bank here in Pennsylvania, to be a partner with PHFA on a lot of projects. This project for me actually hits home, being housing for veterans. I come from a family of veterans. My father-in-law in the Vietnam War, my father was an NP in World War II. So, to see that this is benefiting a community that sometimes gets forgotten or gets lost in red tape, it's nice to see that there are some grassroots organizations willing to reach out, provide them what they deserve. And that's the key, to provide them what they truly deserve and to welcome them home and give them a roof over their head, plus the training they need. And that's key to get them to be successful, not only in their local communities, but even broader than that. And also, we're proud to be partnership with Juanita and Tariq, because it shows that people who have a dream, who have a passion, and who want to give back to the community, they can be successful. So on behalf of Fulton Bank, we're honored to be part of this program. We look forward to our partnership. Unfortunately for Juanita and Tariq, they don't get rid of us. So we're around for quite some time. But no, we are very honored to be part of this program. We're honored that PHFA thought of us first and asked us to get involved above other banks. And I wish her all the best of luck, and for the new residents, welcome home. Thank you.
I'm loosening up. I'm glad you said that, because I'll be right at you again with this next tax credit. But next up, we'd like to have a representative of Moeller and Larnagin. This is the one.
So I'm Laura Northup. On behalf of Mullen and Laudergan, we could not be more proud and honored to be involved with the Hub Veterans Housing. From Tariq's vision, he had the idea, to Miss Juanita's pure efforts and force of will. This lady was going to have this done, whether what anybody else said. She's the heart, and he was the idea. So through this process, it seemed long at times, but we went from not only them being our clients to friends, but truly family. And that is what this housing is all about, is establishing not only a neighborhood of people, but an extended family. We are looking forward to more with TLC and CRAM if Miss Juanita lets us. And we want to thank everybody for coming and seeing what a valuable resource this is, not only to the community, but the people who will live here. So thank you.
Next, I'd like to have a representative from General Service. Anyone here? They never didn't come. Well, next is Patty Kim.
I was burning back there, so I'm going to make it short for those in the sun. Congratulations, TLC and Ms. Juanita. Everything's been said. The cooperation with the stakeholders and working together. I love that Tariq keeps reminding us that he was an ex-offender, that he was from prison. He is a prisoner from the pinnacle of our community. If we support our ex-offenders, if we give them the resources, if we trust them, if we break down the stereotype, look what can happen. Look what can happen. I don't know Tariq as much as I know Ms. Juanita. This looks easy, she's calm, she's relaxed, she's so sweet. If you watch her, I've been to her house, she's come to my office to help with expungements. This way, this is how she works. And then she goes home dead tired. I wish we could watch and see what it takes to do this. This is not easy. Ms. Juanita, sometimes your joints don't work, you're tired, you're bringing up a little girl, but man, you are amazing. I read 3 books on how to be successful. She did this in the meantime. I admire you. Thank you for making our community better. Thank you for taking 20 veterans off the streets to live with dignity and in honor. Thank you, TLC and Ms. Juanita. Thank you.
Next up, I'd like the Harrisburg Housing Authority representative. Harrisburg Housing Authority. Well, no one's here. Well, I also would like to bring the mayor of the city of Harrisburg, and like I said, I consider him a friend now, and you know, like I said, he supported a lot of stuff that I did, or a lot of stuff that I'm doing, and I'd like to give a warm welcome to the mayor of the city, Eric Pappas.
Thank you, Tariq. Tariq asked me to talk a little bit about what's happening in the city as a whole this morning and put this in context, and I'll do that. But I first want to say a few words about Tariq and TLC work-based training. I've had a chance to work with Tariq one-on-one up close, and really at heart, he's a teacher. He's a craftsman, but he's a teacher. And I've seen him train young workers and drywall and framing and all of the different building arts, and what he does and the time he puts into things is really, really extraordinary. We are fortunate as a community to have a permanent home now for TLC right next door in the Hub building, and we're equally fortunate to have Miss Juanita and Cram there and all of the efforts that she does to help hard-to-place individuals find opportunities in Harrisburg. That's why this is so important, and we're really looking at synergy between 2 different centers here. We have affordable housing for veterans, quality housing as fine as anything in the city, a wonderful, wonderful thing. And then we have basically the hub of activity for our business community, including TLC, CRAM, the Diversity Coalition's home, and so many others coming together to help basically rebuild Harrisburg. And it wasn't that long ago, and I know you know this, that this was just basically empty and that building was completely blighted. So we have transformed an eyesore into a source of community pride, and that's an extraordinary accomplishment. If you, and I also want to say something very, very specifically towards Brian Hudson, who's here. He's really responsible for getting all of the development that we've seen over the past several years started, because he single-handedly worked with the city to help pass our LRTA bill, which was our tax abatement bill in the city of Harrisburg. There was a meeting after meeting. I know he remembers this. We had to work with the school board. We had to work with the other taxing authorities, and we had to explain that if we could establish a fair bill that had the possibility of waiving 100% of the taxes on improvements, we could spur private capital, private investment, and we've seen that. We've seen that throughout the city. Examples of that are happening not far from here, up in Allison Hill in Mulder Square, and I can say a few things about the Housing Authority since they aren't here, but they've been real partners there, and there are going to be affordable, quality housing opportunities for people to live there. And if you haven't gone over the Mulberry Street Bridge into that area of Allison Hill lately, you really should, because it has been completely transformed. Also there, we've seen the fruits of the LRTA. We've begun to see through what Tri-County Housing has done, we've begun to see new home sales, and we've been able to place people not just in rental units, but in permanent homes at a lower cost than they would pay to rent right now in a quality, completely renovated building, and that's thanks largely to the LRTA. We see lots of other activity throughout the city. We're seeing development, especially in the downtown. Harristown comes to mind. Private capital, private investment and development, turning in old office buildings into new quality places for people to live. And while we're seeing this, it's important for us to all keep in mind that we want to make sure that the opportunities for people to live in quality housing extend to every neighborhood and are there for every individual. And we're in the process of conducting a housing survey or study here in the city. The city is partnering with the Housing Authority, the Redevelopment Authority, others, trying to figure out exactly where people who work in the city live, how much they pay in rent, what would be considered affordable, so that we can craft a sort of overarching long-term financial and really structural policy for housing in the city of Harrisburg. So these things are going on. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the current news, and there is an issue, which is that if we cannot get the legislature to act, we are going to see a stifling of all the progress and all the activities which projects like this represent in the city of Harrisburg. And I'm happy to say this morning, and I will announce it, we do have a House bill number, and that is House Bill 2557, co-sponsored by Patty Kim, who is here, and others in the House. The House is going to come back in September. They're going to have about 10 working days in which we need to pass a bill that will help Harrisburg exit from Act 47. And we really need everyone's support. We need Mullen and Lonigan, Fulton Bank, PHFA. We need everyone to comment on the current exit plan for the city of Harrisburg. We've got 15 days to get those comments all in writing. And then we need to work together as a community to make sure that the legislature helps us continue to do what we're doing in Harrisburg. What's happening in Harrisburg, as represented by this project, is working. And what we want to do is see more of it. So let's work together. Let's work together to get the legislature to pass a sensible law that will help the city continue to make progress. And let's continue to see and support projects like TLC and CRAM and all that they've done here in Uptown Harrisburg. So with that, I will hand it back to Tarek, and I see we have very large scissors.
I know he's not going to like this, but I have to say this. None of this was my idea. Not one thing. When Tarek came home from prison, and I was running my nonprofit, and he came to me, was telling me all his ideas, and that he actually wrote his business plan while he was incarcerated. And I was satisfied being up at 509 Division Street with my little two-story house that, God rest his soul, Bishop Ravenel gave me back in 2004. It was a two-story, three-bedroom house that we turned into office space. So when he started talking to me about development and construction, I'm like, nah, that's not for me, but I'll help you do whatever you need me to help you do. Well, long story short, he came to me and told me exactly what to do as far as getting this property over here. I didn't think it was going to end up like this, but as we started going through this process and I started listening to him, a lot of time I didn't have a lot of faith, and a lot of times I would buck against what he would say because I wasn't sure that he knew what he was doing. So, because, he's my brother's child, so he's not a play nephew, he's my real nephew. And, I always was kind of paranoid about people coming from prison and got all these bright ideas and not taking the time to really process. But after I started working with him and we acquired this property, and then he started talking about development, they would kick me out. I would come down there, I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. You're not going to be able to fix this up, and wires is hanging off the wall. And they would say, don't come back for 2 months. They would, they would put me out because I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it at all. But I don't trust a lot of people, even in my spiritual life. I don't trust a lot of people because of my background, ex-offender, ex-drug addict. But as I started to trust him, and he had to come back a lot of times and say, I told you, you just got to listen to me. But never in a million years did I ever think that Cram or myself would be in this type of position. Everybody needs to know it was his idea. He just pulled me along for the ride. Yes, I did a lot of the footwork for him because he needed somebody that was going to, do the administrative stuff. And I would tell Laura, he's not going to come down off the roof and answer no email. You need to contact me, and I'll make sure he knows whatever needs to happen. But this man hadn't been given to me the opportunities to show that he can be a general contractor. And I was of the belief that, okay, if you break it, fix it. You're a construction worker. If something goes wrong or y'all don't do something right, just fix it. So I myself am proud of him as my nephew, but proud of him as a young black man that was very persistent. He didn't give up. Even to a couple of days ago, he said, I told you, Anthony, you just got to listen to me. But I am grateful, and I don't take it for granted, that he took me along for the ride. He made me and Cram his co-developer. He didn't need no co-developer. All he needed was this parking lot to do the project. But one thing I can honestly say, not many people would do what he did. I'm talking he shared a large sum of money with his developer's fee. That was his developer's fee. He shared that 50% straight down the line with Cram. So I'm grateful. I don't want to do another tax credit. I told him, I will help you, but I don't want to be, he has a niece, Demir Castile, who has been so helpful to both our nonprofits. And I told her, you got this one. You got it. So, but we all work together. We help each other. We don't always agree. We have our little spats, but we respect each other. And I'll be 65 next month. I don't have another 3 or 4 years that I want to spend doing a tax credit, but I'm going to be here for him. I'm going to be here for him, and I'm going to type whatever he needs me to type and call whoever he needs me to call. But I believe that with his niece, Demir, and his daughter, that we're not letting go anywhere. She thinks she's going somewhere, but she's not. They're young, and they got all that extra energy. And with them by his side, I really believe that he can conquer anything here and duplicate all his services and all his skills throughout the country. So I just want y'all to just give a hand for Tariq Castile and where he has came from.
Now for the ribbon cutting, but I like to say one more thing. I missed a lot of people. I definitely want to say thanks to the other contractors that worked on the hub building. There's a guy named Rob Horn who did this drive. He did an excellent job on this building. He did this drive it from start to finish. Him and his crew. Where's Rob Horn at? Come up here, Rob. Just so everybody can see who you are, because he did an excellent job on this driver. Now, on that project, he was the minority. He was the minority on that project, because on that project, like I said, it was 82% minority participation as far as black and brown. And he was our minority on that project. And he did that project, all the driving. And we had Johnson Controls, who supplied the HVAC units. But TLC self-performed the roof, those windows, all the demo, the framing, drywall, flooring, acoustic ceilings, electric, plumbing, everything. And through that project, I created 5 additional minority businesses, because a lot of guys in the community knew how to do the work, but they never had none of their certifications. They didn't know how to set up their business. I helped them set up all their businesses through just the trial and error that I went through. Nobody showed me. I just started a business on my own. It took me a longer time to get where I needed to be, but by the pace that I went at, I could help somebody get there much faster, because I know the bumps that I went through, and I'm willing to share and help anybody get over that hump, because there's not a lot of us out here. But I definitely wanted to, say thank you to this guy and all of my contractors that work for TLC, Johnson Controls, because that's who did that building. But this is the building what we celebrating today. But that building, I definitely want y'all to see that too, because like I said, I general contracted that and I developed both of them. But the next move, we're gonna develop this right here. And this starting phase 3. on our next project. And I'd like to say, thank all you guys for helping me. Definitely like to reach out to Sam Johnson, that's my right hand. I don't know where he's at right now, but Sam definitely played his role. Carlos Nijak, these guys that work for me, and they definitely put in a lot of work over the past few weeks really to prepare for this and to get that to where we needed to be. But unfortunately, we're not going to have a ribbon cutting for that building today, but you can tour it, but it's every bit of like 90% done. But this, like I said, this building is done. This is the one we're celebrating because we're celebrating for our veterans today. Thank you.
5, 4,